Gamble is a unique man. He's a psychopath who kills strangers for fun. But he doesn't just kill them. And some of the people who encounter him survive. Maybe not many. Maybe not for long. But they do survive the encounter. That is because it's all a game of chance. I'm one of the lucky people who won the game. Last night was just like any other, but I woke up in the early hours of the morning, I think it was probably 1 or 2, on a chair with my legs and arms secured to stop me from escaping. My mouth was covered with tape. Across from me at the table, he was sat rather relaxed. He was wearing a pristine, all-black suit that consisted of dress pants, a button-up shirt, a tie, and a waistcoat. His sleeves were rolled up to the elbows as to display the identical tattoos on his forearms. They were bands wrapping around his arms, which from the wrist up were made up of playing cards, poker chips, playing card symbols, clubs, spades, hearts, and diamonds, and the last band being horseshoes. His face was covered by a white plastic mask which featured only 2 eye holes, one of which was filled with an 8-ball. He had black short hair which slightly crept over the top of the mask. It was then that he spoke in a voice that, under different circumstances, would seem friendly.
My name is Gamble. We're gonna play a game of chess that has a few stages. The bet for each of us is our lives.
He proceeded to explain how the game worked.
First, we play a game of blackjack. The winner is safe, whereas the loser continues with the game. Ready to play and risk your life?
I shook my head.
You sure? Because if you forfeit the game, you lose by default, and we move on. Playing greatly increases your chance of survival. So I'll ask you again. Ready to play?
Being as I didn't want to die, I begrudgingly nodded.
Great. I'll be the dealer.
He then proceeded to deal out a game of blackjack. I had an 8 and a 7. His visible card was a 10.
Want another card?
He asked me. I nodded. It was a 2.
17. That's pretty close. Want to try and get closer?
He asked quickly. He sounded almost excited, as if the risk for both of us was a drug to him. I nodded. I got a 5. Knowing the rules of the game, I was terrified. I'd gone over 21. I'd lost.
Tough luck.
He said, as if he was my friend and I just cracked my phone screen.
Now you're going to the next stage. The part where if you lose, it's game over.
He pulled out a revolver.
You familiar with Russian roulette?
I nodded.
Oh, good. Well, the next part of the game is a modified version of that, where the number of bullets and the trigger pulls can both be more than 1. And you know how we find those numbers.
He took from his pocket a black dice. My heart sank.
I'll roll for you, since you're a little tied up at the moment.
He chuckled at what he said, and if I'm being honest, if I wasn't facing a chance of death and was instead watching this play out as a film, I would have been as well. He rolled the dice twice, each time it landed in front of me so I could see the number. A 2 and a 3. He took a minute to show what would have been the side that said 6, which had been replaced with a skull.
At least you're luckier than others.
I watched as he put the dice back in his pocket and retrieved 2 bullets. He placed them in the gun and spun the cylinder.
Let's see how lucky you are.
He got up and walked to my side, pointing the gun at my head. I felt a cold metal press against my temple. He then started counting.
3.
My entire body tensed up until... click.
2.
I started sweating out of fear at this point. Click.
And 1.
I swear that moment lasted for hours. My entire body was trembling, my life flashing before my eyes. Click.
You're pretty lucky.
He said, surprised.
You won the game.
He put the gun away and took out a single coin. Said the word heads and flipped it. He caught it and looked at the result.
Nice.
He started climbing out of the window that before now I hadn't even realized was open. And as he left, I heard the words that are making me live constantly paranoid.
See you next week. Let's see if your luck holds up.